Hey there, welcome back. In this video I will be making a new welder cart to replace this old rusty one that I made about 20 years ago. Off camera I designed the basic cart shape, but I'll be adjusting it a little bit as I go. For the frame I am using some reclaimed 1 1/4 inch square tube steel. I measure and mark out the various cut lines and then make each cut using the chop saw. Then to prepare for welding, I use an angle grinder to clean up all the edges of the tubes. After that, it's just a matter of lining up the pieces and making sure everything is square. To do that, I'm using these little magnetic welding squares to keep everything in place. I check the diagonals, then I can tack weld each of the corners. I then flip the piece and tack up the other side. Once everything is tacked up, I can use the first side as a guide. I lay out the pieces, and again, tack everything into place. Once both of the side pieces are welded up, I can join them together using these cross-member pieces. And again, same process. Make sure everything is square, and then more tack welds. Now, off camera, I did go back and finish up the full welds, but I didn't show it here because it does get a little repetitive. So with the main part of the frame welded up, I can start working on the wheels. I start off with a pair of these angle brackets, and these will get welded directly to the frame. And then I happen to have a 1/2 inch threaded rod laying around that I use for the axle. However, the threaded rod was a little too long, so I did need to trim off about 1 foot or so. And for the wheels, they are store-bought, just some 8 inchers that I ordered from a home improvement store. Once the wheels are all set, I can start working on the front legs. And this is just a matter of leveling out the frame, measuring, and then cutting the legs to length using the chop saw. And again, just tack welding them into place. Here I have some of these steel gussets. These are used not only to add some strength to the frame, but I'll also be using them as a mounting point for the wood panels. And with the gussets done, I can now start working on the woodworking portion of the project. For the side panels, I'm using some wood that I salvaged from a previous project. I first rip it down into several smaller pieces, just wide enough to fit the planer. Then a few light passes through the planer to get rid of the old finish. Next, I'll use the crosscut sled to bring the panels to final width. Then a few passes on the joiner to ensure a flat and square edge. Then it's time to glue everything up. This is the usual gluing process, but I am using biscuits here just to help with alignment. After the glue is cured, I can then fit the panel to the frame. I clamp the panel into place and then drill out the holes for the bolts. And then I temporarily install all the panels just to ensure everything fits like a glove. At this point I can get started on the drawers. I had a bunch of random half-inch plywood scraps on the offcut pile that I wanted to get used up. So after some careful measurements, I first make some rip cuts, and then I trim each piece to length using the crosscut sled again. Now for drawer joinery, I decided to go with pocket holes. No need for fancy joinery here, this will be plenty strong for its intended purpose. And this is pretty straightforward. I use this jig to drill some holes at an angle, and then I simply add some glue and button everything up with some screws. And with the sides of the drawers assembled, I can then cut out the drawer bottoms. I can then fasten the bottoms into place, just using some countersunk screws. Next, I can get started on the drawer slides. I first add the inner part of the slide to the sides of the drawers, and those just get screwed in place. And then the outer part of the slide gets mounted to the side panels. To do this, I use a couple different lengths of wood as spacers to ensure that each pair of slides are going to be parallel on each side, if that makes sense. And then of course I test out the slides just to make sure everything is aligned properly. And it looks good. Now at this point I changed the design so the handle is just a simple pull bar in the front. For this I salvaged a piece from an old workout set that had been scrapped, so this was just a matter of cutting the bar down to length. After that, I weld some flat steel brackets onto the frame, and then I weld the handle onto the brackets. Alright, and now I can prep for paint. First, I give the frame a once-over with the flap disc just to make sure that there's a good surface for the paint to stick to. And then, paint. Now this is a paint and primer combo, so I just apply 2 coats and call it good enough. And then for the visible hardware, I apply a coat of red paint. Since the wheel hubs are also red, I thought it would be nice to have all matching hardware. I also decided to paint the drawers for just a little extra durability. Even though that looks like a full can of paint, it is old paint from like 1992 or whatever, so I'm just trying to get it used up. Love it or hate it, these drawers now look like a 1990s bathroom. Next, I prep the side panels for finish. The first coat is a pre-stain conditioner. And since these panels are pine, the conditioner will help reduce the blotchiness. Then for the stain, I went with Minwax Dark Walnut 2716. And this is the usual process of wipe on, wait 15 minutes, then wipe off. Once the stain is cured, I top everything off with a coat of spar urethane. Alright, at this point I can start reassembling. And you know what, all of this should be pretty straightforward, so I'm just going to shut up for a moment and let you enjoy the rest of the video. Well, that about does it for this one. I've needed a new welding cart for a while now, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. But I'd love to know what you think, so feel free to leave a comment. And if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of my other projects. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.